Hey guys, how's it going? Yuri here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you're enjoying the new blog. This is the new layout. If you're not on the blog, if you're on YouTube, come over to the blog, check it out. If you're on the blog, hope you enjoy the new layouts. I'm really excited because the old one was a little bit, not as kind of user-friendly as we'd like, and then obviously we had to kind of take it down, and then we got this brand new look up, which I'm really happy with. So let me know what you think. And in today's post and video, we're going to be talking about so three important questions. It's FAQ Friday. This is what we're going to be doing on most Fridays. And so today what we're going to be talking about, I got some questions here that I want to answer for you, which I think will obviously pertain to really anyone watching this. And these are some questions that were asked of me on my Facebook page. So if you haven't joined me on Facebook, you can do that every day. We do Ask Yuri live sessions, and you can get all your questions answered within obviously reason, right? So here's the first one. Hey Yuri, how many calories should we be eating? Hey Yuri, how many calories should we be at least eating while trying to lose weight and stay away from starvation mode? I'm also attending the gym at least 5 days a week doing cardio and intense weightlifting. So my answer to this question, very briefly on Facebook, was that it's a very tough question to answer because everyone's different, right? If you weigh 200 pounds and somebody else weighs 180, that the answer is going to be very, very different. So without getting all quantitative and calculating numbers and stuff that really, is not fun, the short answer is this. Eat in moderation. So if you eat natural foods, right? If you eat whole foods, fruits and vegetables, pseudo grains like quinoa, amaranth, stuff like that. If you want to throw in some organic grass-fed beef or wild fish, depending on where for what's going to work for you, as natural as possible is best, okay? So that's the first thing, is we got to eat natural foods. The second thing is, instead of counting your calories, just cut your portion sizes. And what I usually recommend is if you take your portion sizes and just cut them in like 10% off. Take 10% off your portion size. If you don't know what that is, then a very simple way to do it is if you have a big plate, instead of using the big plate, use a small plate. If you're eating meat, as an example, okay, let's say you're having a piece of filet mignon, a really nice piece of steak, you don't need a whole 16 ouncer. You only need the size of the palm of your hand. And because everyone's different, some people are bigger than others, everyone's palm will be different. So if you're smaller, your palm will be smaller, and therefore you need a smaller piece of meat. The same thing goes for pasta. If you're eating pasta, I'd recommend going with a rice pasta, so there's no wheat in it, because that's very problematic and that's not going to help you lose weight. But if you need pasta, if you enjoy pasta, occasionally, again, if you're looking to lose weight, eating pasta is not the way to do it. But again, it's the same idea, right? It's basically, what can you fit in your hand, in the palm of your hand? And essentially with pasta, it's about 1 cup. That's pretty much all you need in terms of getting the carbohydrates you need for fuel purposes. So don't worry about counting things. Look at, can you reduce the size of the portions? And that's going to be very important. Starvation mode, how much can you not eat until your body gets in starvation mode? Again, that's going to be different. If I were personally to do a fast for several days, as you can tell, I'm not very big. I don't have a lot of body fat on me. So if I were to do a 1-day fast, which I recommend everyone do on a regular basis, very, very good for your health, that's fine. There's going to be no starvation mode there. It actually improves your metabolism, improves the way hormones work in your body, blood sugar, all that kind of stuff. But above and beyond that, if I started going to 3, 4, 5 days of doing nothing but water, my body's going to start tapping into my fat reserves and start producing ketone bodies and all that kind of stuff. So again, because I'm lower in body fats, I'm going to tap into starvation mode a lot sooner than somebody who has a lot more body fat, right? So if you have 35% body fat and you've got several, a lot of extra fat that you're carrying, you'll be able to survive without food for a longer period of time than someone who doesn't have body fat. So again, this question is very tough to answer, but remember, it's not about starving yourself, and it's not about worrying about if I'm not eating every 2 hours, I'm going to get in starvation mode. That's not going to happen at all. Again, if you do an intermittent fast, the 1-day fast, there's going to be no problem at all in terms of going into starvation mode. It actually accelerates fat loss, and there's a lot of research behind this. So don't worry about that, and don't be freaking out about eating 5 or 6 meals a day. I only eat maybe, realistically, nowadays, I probably eat two square meals a day. That's probably it. I have breakfast, which in this case is my green juice, and that's probably what I'll be drinking until noon. because I just don't get away from my work. I kind of forget about eating, and then I have dinner, and that's pretty much it. But that's all I need. If I'm looking to gain a lot of weight, then it's going to be different. I'm going to have to, really consume a lot of calories. But for me, where I'm at, that's pretty much all I need. And then obviously I'll snack throughout the day. So that's the first question. Hopefully that's answered it. And again, it's a long-winded answer, but the key again is not counting calories. Don't worry about tapping into starvation mode. Just eat natural foods, cut the portion sizes, and eat when you're hungry. That's it, okay? All right, so number 2, this is actually a really interesting one. So I posted on Facebook the other day that I really love doing yoga, and I've gotten back into my routine of doing yoga every single morning. And so somebody asked me, where are we here? Yuri, what's the point of doing yoga, and can you recommend any good programs? So first of all, the point of doing yoga is very individual. For me, my major focus for doing yoga, and I was introduced to yoga probably 5 years ago, when I started doing hot yoga. I did moksha, and it was just incredible. I started feeling just absolutely unbelievable. And the only problem with that at the time was that it took 3 hours out of my day. Driving to the moksha, doing an hour and a half, getting ready before, taking a shower afterwards, driving back home. It's 3 hours out of your day. So unless you have nothing else to do, that's great. I obviously don't want to take that amount of time out of my day. Nonetheless, I still do kind of my own variation of yoga every single morning, and it changes on a daily basis depending on what I need to work on. So for me, the main focus of yoga, for me personally, is to remain supple and flexible. That's my major focus. The second major thing that I like to do yoga for is to really bring me down into a more relaxed, centered, and balanced state. And this is very important because you can't remove stress. Stress is always going to be around us, but you can manage it. And the more centered you are as an individual, you'll be able to withstand anything that's thrown at you. And I find that doing yoga first thing in the morning, or even meditation in some cases, is a great way to start yourself on the right path. Because if you get out of bed late, if you're in a rush, if you're not in a good mood, then you've kind of laid the foundation for a very poor day to come ahead. So for me, yoga first thing in the morning is awesome. I spend depending on the day, anywhere from about 15 to 30 minutes doing a variety of different poses, stretches. I'll use the foam roller, my stretch band. Again, I don't have to be doing this specific type of yoga. I take elements of yoga and other modalities that help me to stay as supple and flexible as I possibly can. So for me, that's what works. And can I recommend any good programs? Yes, I can. I've actually below this video recommended 2 of them. First one is my very own Yoga for Athletes program. And this is a program that I've kind of kept on I really haven't announced it to the world because it's kind of been on the underground. I've actually used this exact program with the men's soccer team at the University of Toronto over the past, let's say now 4 years, and it's made a huge difference for them. And we've kind of just released it to different athletic populations, and that's pretty much it. So if you're interested in that, check it out. The link is below. The second program that I recommend is by my good friends at Shapeshifter. They have a great program called Shapeshifter Yoga. I told you guys about it a couple months ago. And again, if you want to check it out, there's a link below this video as well for that. So those are two really good yoga programs I'd recommend. I think they're really good for beginners as well as people who are a little more intermediate. Yeah, so yoga's awesome, right? So yoga's great if you're looking to reduce any kind of stiffness, discomforts, because here's the thing. I got off doing my morning routine for a while, and my back really started to stiffen up. I was doing a lot of deadlift and hamstring kind of intense exercises, and I noticed that my back was starting to really seize up. I was getting a lot of tension back there, and my flexibility was obviously dwindling down as well. So I said, what am I doing here? I'm not kind of being congruent with what I'm talking about. So I got back into my morning routine. Within a couple sessions, my flexibility was right back to where it was, and my back was feeling a lot better. So I'm not talking about if you've got a slip disc, this is going to help. But if you have muscle tension and other aches and pains, then yoga is a great way to reduce a lot of that. So there you go. All right, so let's move on to our final question. This one's awesome. Okay, so sit tight. This is really important to pay attention to. Yuri, what are your thoughts on vitamin water? So vitamin water, if you don't know, is I think they're owned by, I don't even know who they're owned by now, but I think they were bought out by Pepsi or Coke or someone, or Glasso or some big food conglomerate. Now, they're very clever. It's a very, very smart company. They've taken a concept that people don't really enjoy, water, and they've made it interesting and flavorful for people. So they put these cool colors in there, and they've added some sugar, and vitamins apparently. So it makes water taste better. It's kind of like Crystal Lights and other flavor enhancers for water. So here's my problem with this, is that when you look at the food label, and I've actually included a food label below this video, or not a food label, but the nutrient facts of vitamin water. Here's what you'll see. So let's just go through this together. If you scroll down, you'll see the following. So first of all, the very first thing you need to look at is when you look at the nutrient facts label, you need to see servings per container. Okay, so in this case, there are 2.5 servings in one bottle of vitamin water. That's very important to understand because food manufacturers are very, very clever at misleading you. What they say here, if you just kind of disregard that, is that there are 50 calories. Okay, so per serving there are 50 calories, 50. Water shouldn't have any calories. Okay, and those calories are coming from sugar. There are 13 grams of sugar per serving. Now, so you look at the nutrient facts, you're thinking, okay, well, that's not that bad, right? But remember, there's 2.5 servings per bottle. So multiply 50 times 2.5, that's about 125 calories in a bottle of vitamin water. And people drink this stuff like it's water. So they're just pounding back 125 calories times however many bottles they're drinking. That adds up. The same thing with sugar. You're getting roughly, what, 30 some odd grams of sugar in a bottle of supposed water. And that's my biggest beef with this stuff is that it's not water. It's a glorified fruit juice. Water doesn't contain sugar, and it shouldn't. So just be very careful about this kind of stuff is that look at the nutrient fact label and understand what you're getting into. You know, the only time that, I mean, I drink, I'm gonna lie, I think I'd be lying if I said I never had vitamin water. I don't drink it. I mean, I've maybe had 10 in my life. But the only time that I drink it is if it's summertime, first of all, so it's really hot, okay, and I'm profusely sweating, whether I'm playing 3 hours of tennis or after an intense soccer match or after going for a crazy run outside. And I've got no other options available to me. And this has happened occasionally when we've, you know, gone out and taken a day out and we're just like dehydrated from whatever we're doing. That's the only time I've really had vitamin water, and I'm very conscious of the fact that, you know, I'm using it as a sugar replacement. Okay, I'm not using it as a source of water. I'm using it as a hydration tool in addition to replacing my muscles and blood sugar with the sugar that I've lost. Okay, so it's very important that the only time you should be using this stuff, if at all, is if you are exercising intensely and losing a lot of sweat. Don't drink it if you're just sitting at the office or at home doing nothing. Okay, it's just going to pack on the pounds. The second thing is, like, look at Gatorade. Here's another, I just want to kind of follow this with Gatorade. Gatorade, and again, I've put another nutrient fact food label below here for you, is just loaded with sugar, right? So it's got, you know, about 60 grams of sugar, Gatorade, okay? Roughly about 60 grams of sugar. And again, why was Gatorade developed? Well, for the Florida Gators, for the football team, back in the 1970s, I think. And that's who it's meant for. Okay, that it's meant for athletes who are profusely sweating, losing a lot of electrolytes and a lot of sugar through intense exercise, not for everyday people. So what did Gatorade do, which is now owned by Pepsi, I believe? Well, they said, okay, how do we tap into the mass market? We release a light version of Gatorade, which is called G2. Okay, so Gatorade 2, the only difference between Gatorade and Gatorade 2, or G2, is that it's half the calories, half the sugar. So now we're essentially taking, we're looking at G2 being the same as vitamin water. That's essentially what we're doing. But the other problematic thing with Gatorade, which is not that much of a problem with vitamin water, is the fact that Gatorade uses high fructose corn syrup and a lot of food coloring to maintain those colors. So again, guys, just pay attention, okay? Pay attention to what's happening in the food labels and the nutrient facts. Be educated about this stuff so you can make better decisions for yourself. So the bottom line is, if you're thirsty, drink water, okay? Or if you're thirsty, make a green juice or a green smoothie. That's the key, is, you know, stay natural. Don't get sucked into all this nonsense with, you know, what's happening with all these commercials and marketing and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what celebrity endorsed what drink. It's all nonsense, okay? Get back to basics. Drink water. Drink natural fruit juices, you know, that are fresh pressed, smoothies from real whole foods, and you'll be much better off. So that's going to end our FAQ for today. Thanks again for the questions. If you have any comments or questions, just ask me below in the comment section, and we'll speak to you shortly.